What's going on, guys? This is my review for the Chucky TV series episode 2 titled Give Me Something to Eat. Last week's premiere was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it and it was great to see Chucky back on our screens even though it's a TV series. And you know what? I kind of prefer this format for Chucky because, it's not too long, it's short enough. You get introduced to new characters, new location. The older characters will come back eventually, but you have more time, more episodes to dig deep into Chucky and what makes him tick. And this was another good episode. I really enjoyed it. And we started off with a flashback to Charles Lee Ray, of course, who was Chucky as a kid, Halloween night, eating some candy, and he finds a razor blade in his apple, and instead of taking it out like any normal child, he starts to eat it, and that shows the demented kind of thinking of Charles Lee Ray, even as a kid. So it looks like every single episode we will get flashbacks to him as a kid, maybe as a teenager, and then when he became a serial killer. But it's been a week since the death of Jake's father. Chucky killed him, electrocuted him with his puke. Very interesting kill, but he's back at school, and his bully, Oliver, is actually nice to him and apologizes for bullying Jake in the past. He feels bad because his father died and even invites him to a Halloween party that night. So that was a pretty sweet scene between the two. I did like that. Hopefully Oliver is being genuine in his intentions. But back at the house, Chucky gets up to no good, of course, and it is Halloween in this episode, and it wouldn't be Halloween without Chucky getting a kill or two. And who does he pick? Only the maid. And the maid is cleaning up. She even cleans up Chucky as well because he seemed to have blood on his face, wherever that came from. But yeah, she was bent over the dishwasher, and Chucky pushed her, and she fell on top of all the knives. And it kind of made it look like it was an accident because even the cops come in and said this is more common than you realize. But Jake and Junior come home from school and they find the maid, and then the police are called. Then the parents come home, and yeah, one of the cops is very suspicious of Jake because in the last week Jake's father has died from a freak accident. This maid has died from a freak accident as well, and Jake has been in both locations. And one of the cops is very suspicious of Jake and Junior, and Junior's parents are very kind of taken back by this big time. Devon's mother, who's also a cop, she's suspicious, but she doesn't lean into it as much as the other cop. But by the end of this episode, she will be even more suspicious of what is going on. And then we cut to Jake's room in a very funny scene with Chucky. Chucky's like, I didn't do it. I didn't kill her. And Jake is like, it must have been you. And Chucky's like, I've got bigger fish to fry. I've got bigger things to do. I'm not killing the maid. I've been here the last week. I could have killed you. I could have killed Junior. Could have killed the parents. I didn't. My main intention right now is Lexi, because at the end of last week's episode, Chucky basically said, now let's talk about this bitch Lexi, because Chucky has attached himself to Jake and he wants to turn Jake into what Chucky thinks is a man. He wants to stand up for him, but kind of show him that killing is the way. Kill or be killed, as he says by the end of this episode. And he's kind of manipulating Jake in a way, but it's kind of a bit messed up that the only role model that Jake has, the only person that will stand up for Jake, is a serial killer doll. And that shows how messed up Jake's life really is. But I'm loving the humor from Chucky in this series so far. I think it's perfect. But something I loved about this episode was the reference to Seed of Chucky, because Chucky goes to Jake, I have a queer kid. Of course he was talking about Glenda, who we last seen in Seed of Chucky, and he says that Glenda is gender fluid. And that's pretty interesting as well, because go back to Seed of Chucky, Glenda didn't know if they were a man or a woman, boy or a girl. And Jake's like, and you're cool with your child being gender fluid, queer? And the best response ever from Chucky was, I'm not a monster, Jake. Like, that's just Chucky. That's just brilliant humor right there. Brilliant writing. I laughed out loud several times in this episode because of Brad Dourif, who voices Chucky. Just his line delivery was perfect. Then there's kind of a side story going on in this episode with Lexi and Junior, who are getting ready for this Halloween party. Lexi won't tell Junior what her costume is. It's a surprise. It's supposed to be hot and that kind of stuff. But Junior overhears his parents talking about Jake. I mean, are we even qualified to look after a boy like this? Talking about Jake, who's come from a very shady background. His mother has died, his father has died, his dad abused him and stuff like that. He hasn't had the best upbringing, and of course he's not going to be normal because of what has happened to him. But then Jake also hears this as well. The two of them hear it. But the parents are also kind of suspicious of what's going on in Junior's head as well, because the cop kind of planted that seed. So the Halloween party is that night, but Jake doesn't want to go. He's not feeling up to it, but he had planned to meet Devon, of course, his crush at the party, who talked to him at school earlier in the episode. But he has to go to the party because Chucky is missing. Chucky is on his way to the party because he wants to kill Lexi. We got a nice scene here between Devon and his mother, who is also a cop, asking about Jake Wheeler. Have you heard anything about him being abused by his father or anything like that? And Jake's like, we're not in the same, friend group or anything like that, which is a lie because Devon is now friends with Jake and he's basically lying to his mother. And then, I think the mother is very aware that her son may be gay, which she accepts, of course, but she's not saying it out loud to her or anything like that. She'll probably let him come to her about it first. But since she's suspicious of Jake Wheeler, if she finds out that her son and him are hanging out, she might not be too impressed. Then we get more scenes with Chucky, which are hilarious. He is dressed up in his Halloween costume, which is Hello Kitty, looking for the party that Lexi is at. And he's trick-or-treating, and he comes to this house, and he's like, hi, I'm Chucky, wanna play? And he meets this lady, and he asks her, if there's any parties in the neighborhood and stuff like this. And he gives her an apple, which goes back to the start of this episode, where a young Charles Lee Ray took a bite out of that apple, which had a razor blade in it, and now he gives this woman an apple with a razor blade in it. So Chucky, is a messed up guy. This woman would call the cops and talk to Devon's mother and describe Chucky, so Devon's mother is even more suspicious. Then we're at the Halloween party and Chucky is playing video games with Lexi's little sister, teaching her that killing is good and her mother is wrong. And Chucky was like, your mother has a lot of rules, I might have to put her up on my list, my kill list, so that was very, very funny. Jake arrives at the party, he doesn't really want to be there, but he has to protect Lexi because he knows that Chucky is on the way to killing her. And yeah, the scenes of the little girl were just brilliant. I think the little girl's name is Caroline, and earlier in the episode she was drawing pictures of Chucky, so she seems to be obsessed with him big time. And from the trailers we see that these two will have more of a friendship as we go on. And he basically tells the little girl, Caroline, yeah, your mommy's full of shit. So that was brilliant. Chucky then asks her, where is Lexi? And she says probably making out, and that's exactly where she is with Junior, who was pissing off Lexi because he's not kissing her right or something. But Chucky is underneath the bed and he's trying to stab through the mattress to stab Lexi, but keeps missing. And then they eventually leave the room. Jake, of course, is thrown into a room, into a closet with Devon. It's kind of one of those make out things at a party. You kiss somebody for 5 minutes, 7 minutes in heaven or hell, whatever you want to call it. And they don't kiss, they just kind of talk for a few minutes and stuff like that. And once they get out of there, Jake is trying to find Chucky, but he comes across Lexi, who has finally revealed what her Halloween costume is. She said it was hot earlier in the episode, so people were expecting maybe, was it going to be something got to do with trying to impress people by her good looks and things like that? But no, it was actually a cosplay or a costume that, Jake's father would have worn. That's what he would have worn to his job and stuff like that. And yeah, it's basically her getting electrocuted, making fun of Jake because his dad died the same way. So that was a pretty bad thing for Lexi to do. And I think we're all with Jake right now. We're all with Chucky. We all want Lexi to die because she's such a bully. She's so mean. And honestly, she deserves it. She really, really does. But then here we get the scene, of course, with the woman who had the apple with the razor blade in it that Chucky gave her, and she talks to Devon's mother and explains what happened and what kind of child gave her the apple, which is Chucky. Jake wants to confront Lexi about what she did, and before he can say anything to her, he spots Chucky is behind her with a knife, ready to kill her, ready to stab her. But, Of course, Jake isn't a killer. He doesn't want that to happen yet. Maybe by the end of the episode, he has a different thinking of that. But he saves Lexi and just grabs Chucky before anybody can notice that Chucky is alive, basically. But then we cut back to Jake's room. He can't sleep. Him and Chucky have a discussion, and Chucky simply explains, "You either kill or be killed in this world, and you need to kill Lexi before she kills you." And he hands the knife to Jake, and a great image here from the director. I don't know who directed this one, but very well done, where you can see the reflection in the knife. You got to see Jake at first, or you get to see Chucky at first actually, and then he switches, he moves the blade a little bit, and then you can see Chucky in the reflection. Great directing skill right there. Really like that one. Chucky is trying his best to convert Jake into a killer. And I think that he will push him far enough to do his own killings. Will he kill Lexi? Maybe Junior, somebody else. But I think Jake will end up being just like Chucky. But why is Chucky doing this? Is he doing it because he wants Jake to stand up for himself? He likes Jake? Well, earlier in the episode, he did punch Jake, gave him a black eye, very much like his father used to do. So I don't know if Chucky is the best role model for Jake. But maybe Chucky's just doing this because it's fun to him. It's something to be doing. Or maybe there's an end game, and we don't know what that is yet. Maybe Jake is related to someone that Chucky knows, or maybe he's using Jake to get to somebody. I'm not too sure, but we'll have to see in the coming episodes. But this is another solid episode, guys. Really enjoyed it. Very funny. Love Chucky. He's so good. I think they're getting the right balance between humor and Chucky being a killer. Brilliant stuff. I really like Jake as a character. I hate Lexi. I want her to die, but I'm sure she will at some stage. But I can't wait to see the OG characters like Andy, Kyle, Tiffany come back into this franchise. Maybe Glenda, she's been referenced a lot. Or she has been referenced a lot. So we'll have to see what happens there. But guys, give a thumbs up for this review. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel for all this news, reviews, all that kind of good stuff. And follow me at Movies That Matter. Thanks guys. Enjoy. See you in the next one.